In this chapter, we're going to move towards cartography and make a layout of our map, which would take us to the point where we could make a PDF and export it. But we're going to do a little bit more cleanup and get things ready. So first thing, let's go ahead and get rid of that data table. One thing, if you remember, we have these points which don't have, not all of our points have strike and dip. So we want to delete those that don't. So the first thing is we can just delete the points by tag, because when we're done, they were just helping us guide where we wanted to put our contacts. So let's just remove that one. And then on the strike and dips, let's go to attribute table and let's sort by the strike and sort ascending. So all these which have 0 are the ones without any strike and dip. So we just scroll down. Okay, I'm going to select these which have 0 for the strike and 0 for the dip. So I can delete them. And this is important to remember that we're deleting them from the feature class, so they're gone. Now we still have them in our unprojected data, so they're not totally gone, but they're gone from our working file. And so you see there's not as many, and there's only the ones that for example, I didn't have a lot that I had measured. One other thing I notice here, if I select this feature, you see it's one of my lines that wasn't attributed. So I go to Lines Features Project, Attribute Table, and let's look for, so there it is. It's basically empty, and I'm pretty sure it's barns. So if you look at where it is. So let's look, see how I have no embedding barns if I copied those guys. So Control-C on my keyboard and go up here, I can paste. And that should then, if I click unselect it, just click over here. There, so see how it's updated the pattern. So I've got that correct. So you'll want to go through and do that sort of cleanup work, and we'll want to be saving regularly. So now we're going to go to the insert ribbon, and we want to insert a new layout. And you can see it gives us a chance to specify the size of the piece of paper in a sense that this will be put on. So let's try tabloid 8.5, 11 by 17, and also in this landscape mode, because we'll put the map on the left and other information on the right. So now if you click on map frame, we want to select our map, and we're going to draw it, basically put a box on the layout, which is in a sense a window to the map. So I drew that little box and I let go, and I'm zoomed way in, which is where the map view was in part. So go back to layout, right click, activate, and then you can use your roller ball to zoom out, and you can navigate. So what we want is to have our map fill this frame. So let's just kind of move it to the side there. And I can type, this is kind of not a very well-meaning scale, 11,656. Let's try 11,000. Let's see if we can make that fit. Oh, it's perfect. That looks pretty good. Then stop my activation. Right click when I'm not activated on this object, which is the map object. I can do properties so we can see how it's, I don't want to have that border be distracting. So I'm going to take the border and I'm just going to say no color. And so now if I just click somewhere else, we don't see the map border, which is good because we already have a map border which is drawn more intricately. The next thing we want to do is put in a scale bar. So if you go up here to scale bar, you can choose a bunch of different ones. I prefer a simple one, and that's metric. And again, you draw where you want it. So let's put it maybe down here for now to get started. And so it's nice and simple. I'm going to move. Now let's work on our scale bar. To find it, if you do properties, you'll get the pane. So you can, for example, you could do background. Sometimes if I'm putting it on top of another colored item, I could make it white. Let's leave that clear now. You can control various aspects here. So there's a lot you can do. 0.6 kilometers is fine. We could change the map units to meters, and then label text meters. And so which is, I feel like is a little bit, given the scale of our map, a little bit more appropriate. And notice how that's a nice round number, 750. There. That's exactly what I want. A nice 500 meter long scale. Now let's do the north arrow. You have a lot of choices. I don't like for the north there to be too distracting, and I like this kind of a long, tall one. You can put it here. It looks not too bad. The next thing we're going to want to do is put in the legend or explanation. This is the kind of more, takes more work to get this done. So you can choose different ones, but I'll choose this first one. And again, you draw where you want it and the approximate size to begin with. So we've got everything that's live on our, so over here, and then automatically appeared this, the layout in our drawing order and the contents. So let's turn off things we don't expect to show. So we're definitely going to need the lines. Import features will need our contacts, but we don't need this. This contacts and faults is empty. We didn't use that. The map border we don't need to show. The geologic units, yes. Orientation points, we don't have anything in there. And then let's turn, these are the ones aren't turned on, aren't displayed, but we'll turn everything else off there. So that gives us a decent looking legend, but we have some more work to do. I want to change the name of, just click here and I want to call this is my contacts and faults, and that'll have a sort of more interesting and meaningful name. And then let's go then to, if we right click and do symbology, let's clean it up. And so this is going to be quite helpful. First of all, these purple ones we don't need. So if you just right click, you can remove them. They're not being deleted from the file. They're just being deleted from the explanation or legend. So I'm just right clicking to remove those. And then you can see here there's value and there's label. So value is kind of the logic from our attribute table, but in the label, this is what's displayed here. So this first one, bedding known, is actually the Barnes. So I'm going to say Barnes CGL. Contact approximate, maybe just put a space in there. All right, so typed all those out. That seems pretty good. Close that pane. If you right click, properties. So first of all, I prefer to call this the explanation. It's more appropriate language. But if we go to legend items, I want to have the layer name on, but that next item down is a little bit redundant and not very clear. So let's turn off headings, and that cleans it up even more. Now let's add some of our own text. So if we click up here, we're going to put in text box that is the title. And so just start typing. It feels a little strange. You type the text over here. But what we can see is that this is too big. So it kind of dynamically sizes it. So right now it's 140 points. Let's try like 28. It's not too bad. Maybe it could be a little 36. Apply. So that's basically it. We've left some space in the lower right here, and we may come back and try to put a cross section there because that would be the proper location for it. But we also, for convenience, will probably draw the cross sections outside of arc. So let's leave, that's why that's blank is there. So now let's make sure we save, and now let's print it in a sense. So share, and you could just go directly to a printer, but really I think the best thing is use this georeference PDF, which has some flexibility in certain software. It would actually be in the right place, the map would. So click that, give the location, so higher, maybe inside the GIS demo, and I'm just going to say RNet, say OK. And the settings here you can experiment with. I think it's good to kind of leave them as they are. Maybe clip to background if you have anything hanging over the edge. But you could experiment. The vector and raster settings, probably leave them the same, and type export. All right. And then I'll export. Doesn't look too bad. If you wanted to mess around, if you felt like the resolution wasn't great, you could increase some of those DPIs in that export dialog and do it again. But here you notice I don't have extra striking depths or anything, so I definitely needed to adjust my edits. You can see also, looks like the label font size is a little bit large, so that would be something I might clean up. But it's getting there, and maybe the title font size is a little bit large. So you will probably want to experiment and try this a couple times, but to get it just the way you want it. But you should feel good. This is the product we've been working for all this time, and now we have a pretty map, and other geologists could use this and understand what you were working on.